Baxter State Park in Maine, home to Katahdin, the greatest mountain. The Heel-on-Taylor Trail leads to one of Katahdin's 6 peaks, Pomola. This is where Knife Edge Trail leads over South Peak, and then to the infamous Baxter Peak. Here is the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. Over the vast tablelands to Hamlin Peak, and then descending Hamlin Ridge Trail to where we find ourselves beginning our vacation at Roaring Brook Campground. Here is our plan for our vacation. We start here at the Roaring Pond Gatehouse and follow Roaring Brook Road all the way up to Roaring Brook Campground. And we stay here Monday night and Tuesday night and explore this area on Tuesday, which includes South Turner Mountain, Sandy Stream Pond, and Katahdin Lake. Then, on Wednesday morning, we leave Roaring Brook Campground and hike Chimney Pond Trail up to Chimney Pond. Stay there Wednesday night. Thursday, we backpack up Hamlin Ridge Trail to Hamlin Peak, one of Katahdin's 6 peaks. And then, based on conversations we plan to have with the rangers, we will either take North Peaks Trail down or Northwest Basin Trail down, which do converge and become just Northwest Basin Trail, leading us to Russel Pond, where we stay for Thursday night and Friday night. Friday giving us the opportunity to explore this area, which includes Grand Falls, Caverly Lookout, and Wasatacook Lake. Then, on Saturday, we leave taking Wasatacook Stream Trail back to Roaring Brook Campground. And then we stay here Saturday night and drive home Sunday. Baxter State Park, and we're in Maine, and of course it's raining. I'll tell you, this week's trip, our original plans had to be changed because of the weather and the trails that we were going to take. There was an alert this morning on the Baxter State Park. Call in to find out about trail closures or high water, and sure enough, the way that we were planning to go has a lot of high water. Also, with a little bit more research, I was able to find out the trail we were taking is very steep and very slippery, even when it's dry. It has a lot of that green lichen that y'all know I love. So all of that combined prompted us to make some adjustments to our itinerary. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to go as planned to Roaring Brook Campground, and we will stay there tonight and tomorrow night. Wednesday, we are going to go up to South Branch Campground, which is on South Branch Pond, and we are going to stay there and hike into Russel Pond from there. So what that means is we're going to be leaving Roaring Brook Campground, going back down to the Roaring Pond Gate, and then traveling all the way to the north of the park on the tote road, which is about 40 miles long and takes approximately 2 hours. And then we are going to go all the way up here to South Branch Campground. There's another way to get to South Branch Campground, and that's through the north exit at Mattagamon Lake. But it's 6 1/2 dozen of the other, whether you leave the park and go on the highway and come around, or if you go through the park. It still takes the same amount of time. It's just a different drive. We prefer to drive through the campground most of the time because it's just really beautiful. There's a lot of nice views and spots, as well as the dirt road is just really beautiful. So this is where we are going to go. And then we will be taking this trail, Poggy Notch Trail, all the way by Poggy Pond, and then all the way into Russel Pond. That's the recommended route because of the water crossings are a lot safer. Or it's probably going to be really muddy and gross from that standpoint, but otherwise probably not too bad. So that's how we're going to do that, and we'll continue to stay at Russel Pond on Thursday night and Friday night, and then Saturday morning we will hike out and head home. So I'm really excited to be going back to Baxter State Park. I love it there. I've always loved it there. And we're hoping that we get decent weather for most of it. But the forecast this week isn't great. But hey, after hiking the AT and going through 5 months of amazing weather and crazy weather and all in between, this should be fun. We're excited to be exploring some new parts of the park, huh?
Yes. Never been to Russel Pond area.
Yeah, so that'll be really awesome.
Which they say the mountains around it are the most remote east of the Mississippi.
Fun fact. So that area is the most remote piece of wilderness east of the Mississippi.
Correct, yes.
We did read that in our book, so we're excited. It should be amazing. And I've heard Russel Pond is really quite beautiful. Gabe and his wife Marcia are usually up at South Branch Pond every year. He's a ranger, and that's where they got engaged. They said it's a really special and beautiful place. We're also going to go check out this lake. I can't pronounce it. It's Wassaqueock or something lake. I'll find out what the correct pronunciation is and share that with you. But we're also going to hike into that because we've heard that that is like one of the most beautiful places in the park. So I'm really looking forward to going to some lesser known parts of Baxter State Park and sharing them with you. Car's pretty jammed with all of our gear. So we're doing a combination of car camping on this trip and backpacking. So we had to sort of think through our food and plan that accordingly, and our gear, because we're obviously going to want to keep our packs as light as possible to hike into Russel Pond. Even though it's relatively flat, it's just under 10 miles. I think it's 9, maybe just over 9 miles. And we wanted to obviously put some thought into how we did that. It took us a while to get moving today because we thought it was going to be raining all day up at Baxter, so we figured we'd just take our time this morning. And I decided to make a big batch of chili, and I made cornbread last night, and this morning I made a blueberry buckle. So we'll have that for breakfast. We'll have chili this week. Wednesday night, I think we're planning to have the chili before we go into Russel Pond. And so we get all of that pulled together. The other thing to keep in mind about Baxter State Park is there is no running water, which means that they have privies at all of the campgrounds for the campers to use. You need to bring in all your water. You need to bring in all your food because it's depending on where you're situated in the park, it could be a couple of hours to be able to get supplies. It's not like there's a camp store and you can get ice or, oh gee, I forgot syrup.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least a half hour to an hour, depending where you are on the ends of the park, north or south, to get to where you need to go to get some ice or whatever.
Yeah. So based on that, you really do need to put a lot of thought into all the things that you need to bring with you. Any little medical supplies like Advil or bandages or things like that that you could need, because you will have a long drive to go anywhere and get anything. So keeping that in mind, also because they have no running water, you are either cleaning up with some water that you get from a pond, either jumping in a pond or a lake to clean off, or you are using like a cloth and just, you know, sort of taking a sponge bath kind of thing to wash up. So we showered before we left the house, and we will be able to clean up while we're there. Temps are going to be a little cool, so we're not sure how much swimming we'll be doing. It'll depend. But we're staying at Roaring Brook, which is right on the brook. Our lean-to is right on the river, which is wonderful. And then at Russel Pond, we're staying at Russel Pond. And then when we're at South Branch, that we can have that pond too. So there are plenty of water sources for us to clean up in, but the no running water is important because you need to either bring your water filter so that you can filter water if you're doing any remote camping, or bring like a bunch of jugs like we have for the car camping piece of our trip. So for that, we'll just pour water out of our jugs and fill things up. Some of the other things to keep in mind relative to Baxter State Park and making reservations. So although it's called Baxter State Park, it is not run like any of the other state parks in the state of Maine. It is not one of those state parks. It was called Baxter State Park by Percival Baxter long before I think they had any of the state parks. So it is operated independently of those parks. So you must have reservations to camp in the park. And they have a rolling reservation system, which means you can only reserve things within a 4-month window. So if I wanted to book something for September, I needed to either go online or call or mail in my reservation request back in April. So that's how we get our reservations every year. The downside to that is you don't have any idea what the weather is going to be. You don't have any idea what else could be going on. So you kind of roll the dice. Usually it works out really great for us. This year, obviously, with the unprecedented rain in New England, I think in the Northeast in general, it's been a rough summer. We thought about not taking this vacation, but to be perfectly frank, it's already paid for. We wouldn't have gotten our money back if we canceled this week, and any other vacation is going to cost a bunch of cash, and right now I'm not working. So it made a lot of sense for us to keep this itinerary and just try to make it work as best we could, because if it gets that bad, we can always go home. It's not like we have to try and get flights or anything like that. We can just pack up the car and go. So it's something to keep in mind if you do want to come to Baxter State Park and do some camping. Plan ahead. It's very well worth the time it takes to figure it all out, mail it in, call it in. I've found that you have a better chance of getting some of the things that you're looking for when you mail things in versus doing it online. Although I say that, and the first time we wanted to hike at Chimney Pond, we got reservations.
Yes, but the last couple of years we've done the mail, and it's worked out. This year not as good, but in the past very good.
Yeah.
This year they called, and I had to work with a woman to kind of figure out what we were doing for the week, because all the lean-tos that we were specific on, they did not have. So they were very helpful to get us what we wanted. We worked out pretty good, and then today, we called them again just to update it and to cancel what we weren't going to do to open it up so other people could potentially book them if they wanted to.
Exactly, and that's a great point. So if you do have reservations at Baxter State Park and you are not going to use them, please cancel them. Cancel so that somebody else who might be trying to make an adjustment to their existing itinerary, or somebody else who doesn't mind going in bad weather, can have a place to go. So that's what we did. We changed a couple of things on our itinerary, and it works out because hopefully somebody else can use those reservations up at Chimney Pond, which is a very high demand area to get reservations in, and Roaring Brook. So we made 2 adjustments there, and hopefully somebody else will be able to get a little pleasant surprise if they're trying to make some reservations. So come along and chase some blazes with me. Millinocket right now, and there's not a whole lot here. So for anybody who's coming up this way, there's probably a grocery store.
In Millinocket, there's a Hannaford grocery store.
Okay, so there's a Hannaford in Millinocket. So if you need anything, that's probably your last stop before you go into the park. Now we're going into the south entrance, which is Toad Pond Gate, and the gate up north is Mattagamon Gate, and those are the 2 entrances into the park, not vehicles. Of course, if you're on the Appalachian Trail, you hike in through Abel Bridge, and you hike in that way for a few miles, 10 miles or so. There's some lake that has a lot of stumps. We call it Stump Pond, but we don't know what it's called. I don't know if you can see them. The water's real high, isn't it? Usually you can see all of the stumps sticking up. Okay, we're in Millinocket now. This is the main drag. This isn't the downtown area, but this is like where all there's the Motor Lodge, Pomola Motor Lodge over there. And there is Baxter Park Inn right there. And Knife Edge Trading Post to the left. Yep. And we're probably, are we going to be passing the offices for Baxter? Right there, we just passed it to the left. And here's the Hannaford. So there's definitely stuff here. There's a Tractor Supply. People love that store. I've not been in one yet. There's a Subway, Family Dollar, Katahdin Inn and Suites, gas station, Dollar General. So there's definitely enough stuff for you if you're ending your AT trail hike here, or if you are about to go into Baxter, you can get some of the things you need. So Jim cut his finger last September when we were vacationing here, and we were at South Branch Pond campground, and it was a pretty bad cut, and his options were to bandage it up, wait it out and see if the bleeding would stop, or go to a hospital or an urgent care. And I believe that the urgent care from the North Gate and Baxter State Park was, I think the ranger said 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So we made the decision to wait it out, clean it, wait it out, and it ended up being just fine. So it worked out good. This is the little sort of downtown area. There's a cafe, the Appalachian Trail. Cafe is up here on the left. You turn left up here at this light, but we're going to be going straight. You can see it over there. Oh, is it getting a facelift?
No, next door to it.
Oh, okay.
It closes at 2 every day.
Yeah, it closes at 2 p.m. every day, so. Okay, we're going to keep on going here. The road from Millinocket to the gate is about 16 miles long, and there's a campground store up here on the right, and that's where you pretty much lose your cell service for the rest of the trip. So if you have any texts or anything that you need to get out, do it before you get on this road probably, Otherwise, you're out of luck. And this is the store here on the right. There's cabins and a campground in there, some groceries and stuff. So the lake on the left.
And the start of the Golden Road. Golden Road is a dirt road that was built in the late 60s. Once all the logging companies up here stopped using the water to drive the logs, they built this road through the wilderness so they could drive trucks with the logs instead. And they call it the Golden Road because people feel it cost so much money to build that it was paved with gold. So it's a private road that is open. Public can drive on it, but you just have to be aware of the logging trucks coming. And it's not a well-maintained road, so you have to go slow. You need a vehicle with some clearance. We've driven it before.
Yeah.
The car got completely covered in dirt once we get done. We didn't tell the car what kind of car it was.
Yeah.
But you cut through. You go to Canada if you keep driving on it.
Right.
So.
And there's a lot of roads that go off of the Golden Road.
True.
Because it just goes everywhere. It's like a spider web of logging roads, and the logging trucks have the right of way. So if you're ever driving that road, couple of things: stay out of the way around corners, make sure you get way over because they have right of way, and carry a spare tire. We have not had a situation, luckily. This is where it is. This is the road right there. It goes that way. We've been lucky, but I've heard of a lot of people because there's a lot of shale on the logging roads and everything. So a lot of people get cut tires, flat tires as they're on that road. But what it does from here, it goes to Greenville, Maine, which is where Moosehead Lake is. So we have stayed here camping and then gone through the Golden Road to Greenville, Maine.
We turned off the Golden Road.
Right.
And then took another similar type road into Greenville, Maine.
Right. And then we went to Baxter State Park to go camping there. It's a beautiful park on Moosehead Lake. This is the Keep Maine Beautiful Rock. Sometimes you can see Katahdin up there. Not today. Baxter State Park tote road, designed to always remain a privileged, narrow, winding dirt road providing access to park facilities and trails with a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. The tote road was first created for horse-driven wagons supplying lumber and sporting camps. In 1933, the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, working out of Camp Baxter, developed the first sections of the Nowidahunk, I might be saying that wrong, tote road. Thanks to their efforts, this tote road provides vehicular access to Baxter State Park. Please drive safely. And we are almost at the Toad Pond Gate. Oh, there it is. Woohoo! This is the gate we came out of when I finished the AT. And we're on the road to Roaring Brook. All checked in.
It's about 7 miles from the gate to Roaring Brook campground, and which is also one of the main routes to hike Katahdin and Baxter Peak and Hamilton Peak.
So this is called Roaring Brook Road. This road actually is not the tote road. This road just goes to Roaring Brook campground and back out, so it's a dead end. To go to other locations in the park, we would have turned left after leaving the gatehouse with the ranger, and that is the tote road. And now that we're in the park, it's starting to drizzle a little bit.
So it takes the tow road 40 miles long. So on Wednesday, when we drive from Roaring Brook, which we're staying at the next 2 nights, to South Branch, which we're staying on Wednesday night, we'll drive those 40 miles pretty much, and it takes about 2 hours to get there.
Right, because the speed limit's 20 miles an hour, so it takes a really long time. You do have to be careful on the road. The book I just read, which was written by a Baxter Ranger, was pretty good. Andrew Veitz, I think, is the author, and it's called In the Shadow of Katahdin or something. I can't remember. Of course, I've been looking at the cover for weeks now, and I can't remember the name of it, but
we'll drop it in to show you.
Yes, that's a great point. We can drop that in. But he said that there are tons of motor vehicle accidents on the tote road for a whole host of reasons, but mainly because people go faster than the 20 miles an hour. And then when they try to get off to the side to let another car pass, sometimes they end up going into ditches or hitting each other or any number of things. So if you do come here, make sure that you are mindful of the speed limit and safe on the road. To take Katahdin Lake Trail. We may or may not hike that trail while we're down here at Roaring Brook. Depends on what we do tomorrow, because we've been talking about going to hike up South Turner Mountain because it has amazing views of Katahdin and the park. So we have to walk in to our lean-to. So there are some sites that are drive up and some that are walk-ins. You do find that out when you book your reservation. Is this it?
Yep.
All right, so that wasn't far, which is pretty nice. So we only brought our wood with us to start just because we wanted to see. Oh, look at that. Someone left some wood already. And some kindling. Oh, it's tiny.
It is little.
Okay, so fortunately we brought our pop-up and we're trying to figure out how to configure this best so that the water running off of that doesn't end up in our lean-to. We can always put a tarp up in front of the lean-to if we need to, but we're gonna get, at least we have this set up so that we have a dry area to put stuff if it starts raining while we're bringing stuff in. I mean, it's sprinkling now, so it actually is raining a little bit. So we have our tent set up. It's so weird doing this, I have to tell you, just because after being a thru hiker, we didn't do that. Like, we slept in lean-tos just straight out, and it's just funny. We're getting our stuff sorted here. It's taking a little bit of time, but we'll get there. You can hear the river down there. That's Roaring Brook. This is the walk to where the car is. This is the little path, I think, that probably brings us right down to the brook. Oh, wow. It's pretty. Look at that. That's so pretty. It's almost like this could be a little tent site. Wow, it's pretty. And here's Roaring Brook. Going to be 100% honest with you. Not really feeling this at all. Honestly, I wish I was at home. It just reminds me too much of the end of my AT through hike with everything wet and damp. And the rain in the forecast for the next few days, and I'm just like, why did I do this? Like, what was I thinking? I gotta get my head out of my ass and enjoy this with my incredible husband. Smells good. Get there. And here's our little site. It's pretty down there.
Is there a stream in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's almost like there could be a little tent site down there.
Stealth.
Huh? Stealth. A nice bottle of red wine here. First night, especially when we come here, it's sort of a tradition. We usually do 2 ribeyes, but we're starting to smarten up and realize that we can probably just split one with our enormous baked potatoes. So we have baked potatoes, ooh, that's hot, and one nice big seasoned ribeye that we're gonna split because we also have other food if we want to snack later. So that's our traditional dinner on our first night of camping when we do our car camping at Baxter State Park. You excited about dinner?
Yes. Getting hungry.
Yeah, getting hungry. I hate eating after dark. The camera's making it look a little lighter than it actually is right now.
It's past 7.
But it is 7:14 on September 10th, so 11th. Yes, September 11th. And we're at Roaring Brook Campground, which is not full. Ironically, because if you look online, it's full. But when we drove through the campground, there were definitely a lot of empty lean-tos and campsites.
So either people are showing up late or they canceled.
Yeah, or they bailed.
Yeah.
We went to check in at the ranger station and nobody was there, so we couldn't ask. We were going to ask if there was a different lean-to, a drive-up lean-to that we could stay at. But he wasn't there, so it is what it is, and we're good. We walked what we needed in. You know, it's just about thinking differently, which we're used to doing. So, yeah, looking forward to sleeping outside tonight. It's been a long time. What about you, Jim? It has been since I summited Katahdin for you.
That's not true.
Oh, that's right, Keegar Paga.
Beginning of August.
Yeah, so Keegar Paga, I know that's...
Grandkids.
Yes, that's when we were camping with our grandkids. That's right.
4 or 5 weeks.
That was different. I don't know why.
That was a much bigger tent.
Much bigger.
That
Yeah.
we could stand up in and put our clothes in.
Everything was right there in the cars too.
So this is a lot closer to what you were experienced with
Yeah.
the 2-person tent. I'll be there. You don't be alone in it, but
Yeah.
so it's a lot small. It's bigger than what you had on the trail, and it's also not a. It's a freestanding, not a
Single wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're in a lean-to.
Yeah. Which is so funny. As I said earlier, it was so weird putting a tent in a lean-to when normally we just sleep in it. Yeah.
Put the tent on the ground.
No, you can't put the tent on the ground. So you, right? If you have a lean-to, you can't. But if you,
There's the tent
We
site
could-
right across from us.
right?
That you could put the tent out.
Correct. But we could also just sleep in the lean-to like we used to.
Cowboy camp.
Yeah. Cowboy camp, basically.
The bugs aren't bad right now.
No, they're not at all. There's no
No.
bugs. There's no bugs. We're good. So we totally could have slept like that, but I don't think Jim's. No. No.
I'm not the AT through hiker.
So we're not doing it that way, which is cool.
I'm the AT support hiker.
Yeah, the AT support, like you wouldn't believe, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna keep cooking our dinner and hanging out, and we'll check in later. Oh, nice ribeye, potato, sour cream and chives. This is it.